"They'll never expect it, Captain," I began, my voice trembling. The tension in the briefing room was as thick as the Venusian atmosphere. As I recalled the challenges we faced in training, I could feel the doubtful gazes of the other soldiers on me. After all, I was the youngest and least experienced member of this elite team, but I also knew I had the best idea, a crazy, bold idea, an idea that could work. "Jetpacks, Captain," I said, now more resolute. "We equip our soldiers with jetpacks, fly over their defenses, and strike from where they least expect it." A murmur of disbelief spread through the room. Jetpacks were relics of a bygone era, toys for adventurers, not tools of war. But Captain Miller, a seasoned soldier with years of combat experience, just raised an eyebrow and looked at me. "Explain, Lieutenant," he said, and I did. I detailed my plan, explaining the hours of research and simulations. I pointed out that our enemies, the Krill, were masters of ground warfare, with armored units and plasma cannons that were nearly impenetrable. But they had one weakness. They were overly reliant on static defenses and weren't expecting an attack from above. "We'll modify standard jetpacks," I said, "reinforce them with cranium armor plates, equip them with mini plasma rifles and shock grenades. We'll train a select group of soldiers in aerial combat maneuvers and employ hit-and-run tactics." I could see my idea taking root in their minds. The initial disbelief was giving way to a glimmer of hope and excitement. "Risky," Captain Miller said, "but the potential rewards are great. We could cut off their supply lines, disrupt their communications. The chaos we create would cause panic in their ranks." He paused, a sly smile appearing on his face. "And it would be quite a show." And so, the Icarus project was born. The next few months were spent in training and preparation. We selected the best pilots and engineers, the bravest and most creative soldiers. We spent hours in simulators practicing aerial maneuvers, dogfights, and precision strikes. We learned to trust each other, to anticipate each other's moves. The jetpacks were engineering marvels, aerodynamic and durable, strong enough to withstand the rigors of battle. The mini plasma rifles were powerful enough to pierce the enemy's armor. The shock grenades were designed to give us an edge in close combat. We trained in secret, away from enemy spies. Krill spies were everywhere, and we couldn't risk our plan being exposed. Finally, the day of the mission arrived. We were stationed at a forward operating base near the Krill's main stronghold. Our mission was simple: infiltrate enemy territory, neutralize their air defense systems, and pave the way for our ground forces to advance. The weight of our jetpacks on our backs was a constant reminder of our purpose. We checked our weapons, communication devices, and life support systems. We exchanged one last look, silently acknowledging the danger ahead, and then we took off. As the ground fell away beneath us, we left our spacecraft and were greeted by the breathtaking panorama of an alien landscape. Jagged peaks, rivers of molten lava, and bioluminescent vegetation stretched out below us. But there was no time to admire the view. Our eyes were fixed on the Krill stronghold. Our first target was the anti-aircraft guns. These cannons could shred conventional aircraft in seconds, but they weren't designed to target fast-moving jetpack soldiers at low altitude. We split into two teams, flanking the fortress from opposite directions. My team maneuvered through canyons and valleys, flying close to the ground. The Krill sensors were sensitive, but they hadn't accounted for our unconventional attack method. We approached the first cannon, a massive assembly of metal and energy. Its glowing barrels scanned the sky for threats, but we were already above it, rising from behind a ridge, our plasma rifles blazing. The cannon tried to target us, but we were too fast and unpredictable. We riddled it with plasma rounds, dodging its return fire. The Krill soldiers looked on in shock, unsure how to respond to this unexpected assault. The cannon's armor was thick, but it couldn't withstand the concentrated fire from our plasma rifles. The metal glowed red, then white, and finally collapsed. The cannon exploded in a shower of sparks and debris, a satisfying sight. We repeated this tactic with the other cannons, neutralizing them one by one. The Krill defenses were crumbling, confusion and panic rising. Their communication channels were filled with alarms, orders, and counter-orders, increasing the chaos. After disabling the air defense systems, we focused on the fortress. It was a sprawling complex of buildings, tunnels, and underground bunkers, designed to withstand any attack. But we had a surprise up our sleeves. Our jetpacks buzzed like an angry swarm of wasps. The Krill, reeling from the loss of their cannons, scrambled to regroup their defenses. They emerged from bunkers with their weapons, but we were already inside. The battle was intense, a whirlwind of plasma fire, explosions, and battle cries. We maneuvered in the air, firing our plasma rifles with deadly accuracy. The Krill, used to ground superiority, were caught off guard. We attacked from all angles, throwing shock grenades to stun and confuse them. We blew open doors, collapsed tunnels, and sowed chaos in their ranks. The Krill, accustomed to fighting from cover, were vulnerable in the open, but they had surprises of their own. From hidden hangars, jetpack-equipped Krill warriors emerged, engaging us in a deadly aerial dance. These Krill were their best pilots, masters of combat, fighting with desperation. The aerial battles were intense, a test of skill and bravery. We twisted and turned, firing controlled bursts from our plasma rifles. The Krill warriors were agile and aggressive, but they couldn't match our training and experience. One by one, their jetpacks caught fire, and their pilots plummeted to the ground. The few survivors retreated, leaving us in control of the skies. With the Krill warriors defeated, we pressed our advantage. We advanced to the heart of the fortress, disabling command centers, communication hubs, and weapon depots. We sabotaged power generators, plunging the complex into darkness and disrupting their communication networks. The Krill watched as their trusted defenses crumbled, their morale shattered. The once formidable fortress, a symbol of their power, was now a smoking ruin, a testament to our courage and skill. As the sun rose over the alien landscape, casting long shadows over the battlefield, we regrouped our remaining forces. We had suffered losses, but our victory was undeniable. We had paralyzed the Krill fortress, paved the way for our ground forces, and proved the effectiveness of our jetpack-equipped soldiers. When we returned to base, exhausted but elated, we were welcomed as heroes. Our bravery inspired the other soldiers. But we knew this was only the beginning. The war was far from over, and missions requiring even greater courage and creativity awaited us. But for now, we could savor our victory, knowing we had changed the course of the battle. We had shown the Krill that we were a force to be reckoned with. We would fight them on our terms, in our own way, and we wouldn't rest until our freedom and future were secure.